There's a growing sense around New England that something deeper is taking shape, something that goes beyond wins, losses, or a single-season snapshot. When you slow the game down and really analyze how this Patriots roster is being used, the pattern becomes clear. This is a team leaning into its youth, not out of desperation, but out of conviction. The snaps are real, the responsibilities are heavy, and the trust being placed in first-year players is changing the way this group competes on a weekly basis. What stands out immediately is how early these young players are being asked to contribute in meaningful situations. Across both sides of the ball, rookies are not hidden or protected. They're starting drives, closing quarters, and handling moments where execution decides outcomes. Nearly 1/5 of the total snaps on offense and defense are going to players in their first professional season, and that reality reshapes how this team grows. These are not developmental reps in low-pressure situations. These are assignments against established veterans, complex schemes, and physical matchups that test readiness every single week. That approach carries risk, but it also accelerates growth in a way that controlled environments never can. Young players learn quickly when mistakes have consequences, and the Patriots have embraced that philosophy. Instead of pulling back after errors, the coaching staff has doubled down on teaching, repetition, and accountability. Over time, those lessons are showing up on the field. You see it in cleaner alignments, sharper reads, and a growing comfort level when the game speeds up. On the offensive line, this youth movement becomes impossible to ignore. A first-round tackle was placed directly into the fire, lining up against some of the most dangerous edge rushers in football. Week after week, he faced elite competition, power, speed, and technical precision. The expectation for a rookie in that position is usually survival. What New England received was far more than that. Through hundreds of snaps, he limited pressure, stayed disciplined, and showed the ability to adjust within games. Allowing only a small number of sacks across that workload is impressive for any player, but for a first-year starter, it speaks to preparation and mental toughness. Even more striking was the context around him. For long stretches, the left side of the offensive line featured two rookies starting together. That scenario is often viewed as a recipe for disaster, especially in a league where defensive coordinators specialize in exploiting inexperience. Yet the Patriots stayed committed. The communication improved, the footwork tightened, and the timing within the blocking schemes became more consistent as the weeks passed. The growth was not always linear, but it was undeniable. Each game added to a shared understanding that will matter far beyond the current season. Behind that line, the running game found a steady rhythm through another first-year contributor who quickly established himself as a central piece of the offense. His running style combined patience with explosion, allowing blocks to develop before attacking space decisively. He consistently turned modest openings into meaningful gains and brought balance to the offensive approach. Finishing the season just short of 1,000 rushing yards, while averaging more than 5 yards per carry, is a remarkable achievement, especially when defenses knew he was coming. What elevates his impact even further is his versatility. He showed comfort catching the ball out of the backfield, understanding protections, and staying engaged on passing downs. That complete skill set made him more than just a runner. It allowed the offense to maintain tempo and unpredictability. Defenses were forced to respect multiple possibilities and that open space elsewhere. Beyond production, his mindset stood out. He embraced coaching, leaned on veteran guidance, and spoke consistently about team goals over individual recognition. That attitude resonates inside a locker room and reinforces the culture being built. As the season progressed, the receiving group began to reveal additional layers. One rookie wide receiver, in particular, started to carve out a role that defenses could not ignore. His speed stretched coverage vertically, forcing safeties to hesitate and corners to give ground. Even when his targets were limited, his presence altered spacing and created opportunities for others. When defenses shifted focus toward established options, he capitalized with timely catches and explosive plays that flipped field position. The significance of that development lies not only in individual highlights, but in how it fits the larger offensive puzzle. A young receiver capable of winning downfield changes how opponents call games. It discourages aggressive coverage underneath and creates hesitation in key moments. That ripple effect can be just as valuable as raw statistics. As his confidence grew, so did his comfort within the system, suggesting that his role could expand naturally with experience. Depth contributions also began to surface from players who entered the league with far less attention. An undrafted rookie found ways to contribute in limited opportunities, showing reliable hands and awareness in tight spaces. These moments may not dominate headlines, but they matter deeply over the course of a season. They reflect preparation and readiness, and they strengthen the roster as a whole. When players beyond the top of the depth chart are capable of stepping in without disrupting flow, it raises the competitive floor of the entire team. Defensively, the rookie influence has been just as meaningful. A young safety quickly emerged as a dependable presence, showing instincts, physicality, and the ability to handle multiple responsibilities. Finishing near the top of the team in tackles as a first-year player is not accidental. It reflects trust from the coaching staff and a willingness to embrace complex assignments. His ability to rotate between roles added flexibility to the secondary and allowed the defense to disguise intentions more effectively. Along the defensive front, young players rotated consistently, providing energy and effort that sustained the unit over long stretches. Some showed flashes as pass rushers, others anchored against the run, but together they contributed to a collective identity built on persistence. Rotational defenders rarely receive attention unless something goes wrong, yet their impact accumulates quietly. Keeping veterans fresh while developing young contributors is a delicate balance, and New England managed to strike it effectively. Even on special teams, rookies handled critical responsibilities with consistency. A first-year-long snapper performed his duties cleanly, reinforcing trust in phases of the game where mistakes can swing momentum instantly. These roles demand precision and composure, and reliable execution allows the rest of the team to operate without distraction. It also reinforces the idea that no assignment is too small to matter. When you take a step back and view the full picture, the common thread is intentional opportunity. These young players are not simply filling gaps. They are being developed through real experience, asked to solve real problems, and supported through the learning process. That combination of trust and accountability is shaping a roster that is gaining confidence with every week and setting the stage for what comes next as the competition grows more intense and the demands continue to rise. As the season moved deeper and the pressure increased, the most revealing aspect of this Patriots group became how comfortable the young players looked when the margin for error narrowed. These were no longer moments of experimentation or extended evaluation. These were snaps that demanded precision, awareness, and emotional control. What stood out was not perfection, but composure. Rookies who earlier in the year looked like they were thinking through assignments began to react instinctively, trusting their preparation and leaning on repetition. That evolution is especially noticeable in late-game situations. On offense, protections tightened, communication improved, and timing felt more deliberate. Young linemen adjusted more quickly to stunts and pressure looks, while backs and receivers showed better understanding of situational football. Third downs, red zone possessions, and 2-minute sequences became opportunities for growth rather than points of collapse. That shift does not happen by accident. It reflects hours of film work, coaching continuity, and a willingness from players to absorb hard lessons without losing confidence. Defensively, the maturation process followed a similar path. Early season hesitation gave way to faster reads and cleaner execution. Younger defenders began to trust their keys and play downhill with conviction. Coverage rotations looked sharper, leverage improved, and pursuit angles became more disciplined. Those details are often invisible to casual observers, but they define whether a defense bends or breaks when challenged. The Patriots' defense, fueled by youthful energy and increasing awareness, began to show the kind of resilience that sustains competitiveness. One of the most encouraging developments has been how these first-year players communicate on the field. Communication is one of the last areas where rookies typically catch up, especially in complex defensive systems. Yet as the weeks progressed, voices became more confident, signals clearer, and adjustments faster. That clarity reduces mental errors and allows athleticism to take over. When young players reach that stage, the game slows down for them, and their physical tools can fully emerge. Versatility has also become a defining characteristic of this group. Several young defenders have shown the ability to line up in multiple roles, giving the coaching staff flexibility to disguise coverages and create confusion for opposing quarterbacks. Safeties rotating into the box, defenders shifting alignments pre-snap, and subtle changes in responsibility all add layers to the scheme. That kind of adaptability is especially valuable against experienced offenses that rely on reading tendencies. Youth paired with versatility creates unpredictability. Physically, the grind of a full professional season presents its own test. The accumulation of hits, travel, and preparation challenges even seasoned veterans. For first-year players to maintain effectiveness through that stretch speaks volumes about conditioning, recovery habits, and mental toughness. The Patriots have clearly emphasized those areas, ensuring that young contributors are prepared not just to flash early, but to endure. Endurance is often what separates potential from reliability. On the offensive side, chemistry has continued to develop between young players across position groups. Linemen grow more comfortable with each other's tendencies. Runners anticipate blocking angles more naturally, and receivers refine timing with quarterbacks. These connections cannot be rushed. They are built through shared experience, repetition, and correction. With each game, the offense has shown signs of greater cohesion, turning isolated improvements into sustained rhythm. The running game has played a stabilizing role throughout that process. Consistent production on the ground reduces pressure across the offense and creates favorable situations. A rookie back carrying that responsibility with efficiency changes how defenses approach the entire game plan. When opponents are forced to respect the run, opportunities open elsewhere, and the offense gains control over tempo. That control is invaluable, especially for a team integrating young talent. In the passing game, emerging threats have continued to shape defensive behavior even without overwhelming volume. Speed on the outside stretches coverage, while reliable options underneath capitalize on softened zones. A young receiver who demands attention deep does not need constant targets to influence outcomes. His presence alone alters spacing and decision-making. As confidence grows, so does his ability to impact games in subtle but meaningful ways. Depth has quietly become one of the strengths of this roster. Injuries and rotation inevitably test readiness, and when lesser-known players step in without disrupting flow, it reinforces belief throughout the team. That readiness reflects preparation and buy-in. Players understand that opportunities can appear without warning, and when they do, execution matters more than reputation. Teams that sustain success are rarely those with perfect health, but those with adaptable depth. Special teams have mirrored that reliability. Young players handling critical responsibilities with consistency reduce volatility in close games. Clean execution in those phases prevents momentum swings and allows coaching staffs to focus on strategy rather than damage control. Trust in those roles is earned through repetition and accountability, and rookies who meet that standard strengthen the overall structure of the team. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like. Your support helps us bring you the latest updates on the New England Patriots. And of course, drop your thoughts in the comments. We love hearing from Patriots fans. Behind closed doors, a rumor has been gaining unusual strength across league circles. BREECE Hall and the New England Patriots are suddenly being mentioned in the same breath. Official channels remain silent. Contracts are not public, and no press conference has been scheduled. Yet multiple whispers suggest that something significant may already be in motion. The most intriguing part is not only the idea of Hall and Foxborough, but how quietly and unexpectedly this narrative emerged. Sources close to front offices describe a situation that doesn't add up on paper. Hall, widely viewed as a cornerstone talent, was assumed to be untouchable, the kind of player teams build long-term identities around. New England, on the other hand, has been navigating a delicate transition, balancing patience with the pressure to reassert relevance. The speculation suggests that conversations may have happened away from the spotlight, involving creative cap maneuvering, future assets, and a level of discretion rarely seen in today's hyper-connected NFL. What fuels the intrigue is the apparent lack of leaks until now. In an era where even minor roster discussions surface within hours, this story seems to have traveled almost entirely through back channels. Some insiders believe the Patriots' reputation for silence played a role, while others hint that Hall's camp may have explored options quietly, testing the market without formally declaring intentions. Around the league, reactions range from disbelief to cautious curiosity. Coaches reportedly question how such a move could be structured without triggering immediate attention, while rival executives privately admit admiration if the Patriots manage to pull off something so unexpected. Fans, meanwhile, are left connecting dots, dissecting subtle comments, body language, and roster decisions that suddenly feel more meaningful. Until confirmation arrives, the Hall to Patriots storyline remains suspended between rumor and reality. Yet the consistency of the whispers suggests this is more than idle talk. Whether it materializes or dissolves, the mere possibility has already shifted conversations, reminding everyone that the most impactful moves are sometimes the ones nobody sees coming. That's it for today's update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving fresh and exclusive Patriots news, make sure to subscribe and hit like. We always appreciate hearing your opinions in the comments. See you in the next one, Patriots Nation.